I do enjoy the country. And while I was in Toronto, I met him, Uche. I met him. He took us to the side to entertain us. So I called him, how can we join you? He said, oh, okay, come and greet you guys. And I spoke to some people in Toronto, I mean in Montreal. And one of them is my elbow deputy coordinator, Obi Stand-up. He encouraged me, he said, why not we do it? Let's start. We might only 3 or 4, let's start. Why I gave you guys some case? It was 29 December. It was snowing. The weather was very bad, severe. They drove all the way from Montreal to Toronto. Rented their own hotel room and inaugurated us. We were only 9. That was just 5 months ago. We were only 9. Today we are 25. 5 months ago. Like I tell my members, I said, don't worry. Once I'm in the helm of affairs, we're going to calmly draw everybody that bears Biafran blood in Montreal will be a member of IPOB. We have already started a project where we are beginning to visit the elders. In Montreal, you see the elders who were here before the war and who would send to Montreal to the engineering. We are in Montreal. We are still to start to visit them gradually. To start with the elders. Everything is not positive. But there's some positive and well positive. Then we continue to those who have been in Montreal for many years. You know, Quebec, that's a way. Quebec have a kind of a French kind of lifestyle. If you're not careful, you get so relaxed. So they are relaxed. But one by one, I convince you of, we're not going to call general meetings. We'll go to their doors and knock on their doors. So, I'm not going to say in front of everybody that recruiting everybody in Montreal that is a Biafran into IPOB will be a problem. But it's going to be an uphill battle and we will achieve it. I just want to recognize one person who did it right. You know, when we discuss about IPOB, sometimes you wonder about other Biafrans who are not coming up like this. A brother called me. He said he's from Europe. Please, I want to join IPOB. I want to join IPOB. I said, you sure you want to join us? But he didn't know that when he was saying that, I was listening to him to see if he has a Yoruba accent. I tried to make up, but I Yoruba accent would come up. He said, no, brother, I don't want to. I said, okay, who introduced him? He told me the person who introduced him. I said, you know this guy? He said, this guy is Yoruba, he speaks Yoruba. Fortunately for us, he said that he lived in Port Harcourt, so we started talking about Port Harcourt, where I went to school. And I'm very happy. These guys are committed. And I recognize you from World 2. Wow. And in Montreal, we might be quiet, but we have passionate people. Like the sister, they greeted, she came, she wanted to be a member of IPOB. To be honest, I put 3 stairs backward, look at her from the side of my eye. And she came, okay, when the time comes to send, for the IPOB Montreal to send our members to support our brothers in Toronto, as we are doing meeting, I said, is anybody ready to go to Toronto? She was first going to do that. I said, Jesus Christ, we can't marry her. So, it was a joke. She was always available. They came to Toronto. And they came back. I said, okay, you guys know that we have to do this project. And we have to raise money. And she came. And just in the middle, before I stood up as coordinator to deliver my own money, she stood up. I said, oh, I'm matching you. I'm donating $500. The hand of God can be stopped. Yes. The hand of God can be stopped. IPOB Montreal is the hand of God. And the time is now. There's no going back. And thank you guys for coming.
Thank you, Amen. Ahmadike, one thing we learn from this is if you evangelize, if you sacrifice, it bears fruit. Like he said, we all drove down to Montreal. It was a snowy time, and we spent just one day of our time. And look at what is taking place there. You just go there and sow the seed. And
not like Pentecostal churches.
It's one of the things we will discuss when it comes to matters arising. One of them is taking oath. The dues, it's all rosy when we talk and laugh on the good side. There are some other challenges that we'd like to discuss with you. You're the master of answering difficult questions. Before I call on the British Columbia, just like our brother said, one of our brothers went to immigration hearing last week, started my office, I gave him a letter, and he called me deeply, he said, help me to thank God. Hallelujah.
Anywhere you go to, and the state does not recognize our people or give them asylum, you know the IPOB that is not working. The first litmus test for any family meeting anywhere in the world is that when we go to court, we win our cases. I wouldn't expect anybody to be deported from Canada back to the zoo. I don't want that. Because we have sacrificed a lot. The blood of those people that fell at Mpo in Agba, in my house, in Iguacha, in Enugu, in Onitsha, was used to purchase freedom for our people all over the world. Anywhere you go to and you say you are IPOB, you are entitled to remain in that very country until Biafra is restored.
Hallelujah. I think it just makes mockery of the zoo. That the zoo woke up one day and called a civil organization seeking for a restoration. Self-determination was prescribed and described as a terrorist organization. And what did the government of Canada do? The government of Canada said it's a pharmacy. And that's why they're giving status to people who come here. Therefore, in the international arena, Nigeria is being looked at as if they're senseless, murderers, idiots, and people as described as people from zoo. Because if it was a government, a civil government, they would have known that the actions fall short of a standard that's required of any civilized society. As I was talking, the Montreal coordinator also reported that the people that we gave letters 3 weeks ago also were accepted.
Wow.
And you guys did all these things, so
one thing I want you to tell them, we had a fear that some of them will walk in here and will use us to secure their freedom from oppression, from poverty, from disease. to live in a country where a white man has dedicated time and energy to build, and then they will disappear from the struggle. So they have to understand that while IPOB gave them the stay in Canada, they will also have to be appreciative of the fact that the people that lost their life. I want to, at this point, the coordinator of British Columbia missed his flight, but one of them is a 6 hours flight from Vancouver to here. And he wants to read a prepared message from the coordinator to you. OC, can you please come? Can you put your hands together?
IPOB, one family, IPOB. It is not all of us who know how to really speak. But I'm going to do my best. Director, personally, I said when I come here, I'm going to shake and hug you so that I will not take my part for 1 month. Everybody has got to receive lights. Can I tell you what? Like our national coordinator has said, our coordinator missed his flight this morning. We were supposed to be 4 in number here, but unfortunately, many didn't get the approval from their workplace. So I just got this information. I'm going to try to read it and make sense out of it. Please bear with me. And it goes like this. Mike? Okay, Ima Ihejirika, coordinator IPOB, the province of British Columbia, Canada branch, Canada. June 8, 2018. His Excellency, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, welcome address by IPOB, the province of British Columbia, Canada branch. Our dear leader, national coordinator, provincial coordinators, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we the people of British Columbia branch wish to welcome you to our great north to our great north, free and strong country, Canada. We hope that you enjoy our greatness and freedom, and above all, our Canadian generous hospitality. We thank you very much for considering Canada as one of the countries you visit during your tour of the world, advocating for support for the sovereignty of the indigenous people of Biafra. We offer to you our unflinching support in this struggle for the liberation of the indigenous people of Biafra. We pledge to you our loyalty and go every length with you in this struggle until Biafra is restored as a sign of sincerity. Loyalty in this struggle, we have regularly held meetings and observed and participated in the May synagogue order to mourn our fallen heroes and heroines. Our dear leader, we the IPOB British Columbia branch would like to solicit for a medium of reaching out to the people of British Columbia and letting the general public support our struggle. What this simply means is we need help. Like I learned one thing, I got letter from Filmmaker said, he said they want to go and reach out to the elderly ones. I just learned that. So that's what he said, we need help to know how to motivate our people more. Okay. Through this medium, we will also expose the the atrocities of the Nigerian government to our people. This video can be used in form of radio times log or newspaper publication / page subscription. Our dear leaders, we will be delighted to have direct channel of communication with you and the heads office executive, such that we will receive as well as to you urgently update direct and uninterrupted. We are making this request to let you know that we are an autonomous province, and most times we are behind in receiving messages from you, and sometimes find it difficult to passing on to you urgent messages / information. Our dear leader, we would like to request that we, the IPOB members in the diaspora and at home, should be encouraged with whatever resources we have to take our messages of Biafra to the nook and cranny of River State, Bayelsa, Cross River, and Akwa Ibom State, using sons and daughters of these states. We would like to see the use of information, loaded leaflets and flyers in the dissemination of messages of Biafra, which will include the reassurance of businessmen and women that their properties and businesses in the northern part of the country, including Abuja, will not be forfeited to the government of Nigeria should we have our independence. Secondly, that Biafra will be a federation where the states have more powers than the center. And finally, each state will manage its resources and more. In conclusion, our dear leader, we would like to offer to you our resources of manpower and brains, central executive and advisors to your cabinet. Should there be resources / support for their families while serving in your executive council, to travel and speak and lobby in national parliament of various countries of the world, high-powered organizations and conventions like the Canadian Parliament, USA Houses of Assembly and Senate, the British Parliament, to name but a few, OAU, ECOWAS, United Nations Organization, and more. As you travel back, we wish you a safe return to your family. Yours faithfully, IPOB British Columbia branch. Thank you.
Thank you, OC. We appreciate your presence. Hamadike, these are the existing 4 provinces so far. But I also want to report to you that there are other families that are springing up within the provinces. We have Ottawa that is growing. They participated, I saw them coming today, they participated in 30th May. They drove all the way, it's 4 hours drive. There's Windsor, there's Edmonton. They're not fully hatched, but it's in the process. So as we continue to connect the dots, we will continue to develop those platforms. We don't really have a lot of time. Right now, what we have is matters arising. We've talked all the good news. We're going to get to some of the challenges, the opportunities. where I used to work, they said problems, it's not called problems, it's called opportunities, because when issues come up, when you find solution to those issues, you open another door. It leads to invention. Difficulties lead to invention. One of the things I want to bring to your attention is the issue of Biafra Memorial. Here in Toronto, there's an organization called ICCA. Every year they organize Biafra Memorial. Most of the time, it's a ticketed event. When there was Operation Python Dance, this city was woken. They woke up. We had a memorable outing downtown. We met government officials. We united the entire community here. And we raised money, up to 9,000. But that money is domiciled with ICCA. And people like me that donated in that money, I donated $300. That was even before I became IPOB member. Those funds were supposed to go to the victims, the families of the victims, the injured. Those funds never reached them. And as I speak to you today, in the city of Toronto, this year was the first year that we started to reach out to the community to tell them that every 30th of May, we will in a big way, as it's been observed in other 120 countries, celebrate, remember the fallen heroes and heroines. And we will need help to make sure that it's IPOB that's championing those memorials around the world, including Toronto here, Canada. I've spoken a little bit about the success we have here with respect to immigration. I want to also let it be on the record that we do not give letters to people who do not belong to IPOB or are not members of IPOB. We do not want to abuse that documents, as is always things like Nigeria. Once you abuse it, it becomes worthless. So if somebody comes to you and asks you because it's going to hearing or anything, you have to be an oath-taking member, pay your dues, and participate in everything we do as a family. Even before you come here to qualify, if what you're telling the government of Canada is that you are being persecuted, that you're being threatened from the country you're coming from, you have to be honest and truthful. And another thing I want to touch on, Ohamadike, is the issue of how do we remain united and love each other. One of the things we see amongst ourselves is that because of the nature, because of the nature that we are agitators, we are oppressed people, we tend to be angry so quickly amongst ourselves. We gossip a lot. And then the issue of WhatsApp messages that people throw, those things cause some sort of disharmony. And as we go along, we want to see whether there's some other better ways of doing things so that we can leverage those things to help us grow as a family. Because most of the time, the things that bring quarrel amongst us are not even things that are very trivial. Maybe someone miswrote or someone misinterpreted those things. So those are some of the things we continue to look at that we're presenting to you. You've traveled far and wide. If there are other practices that are done in other families that we can emulate, that's also one of the things we are dropping at your table here. And I will ask every other coordinator if you have some other challenges or opportunities that you'd like to throw. The floor is open for you.
All hail Biafra. All hail Biafra. Thank you, National Coordinator, for the points you brought out. And actually, I don't want to see in Ontario Province. I believe that to a very large extent, we are doing very well, and we have more prospects to grow as a family. I do not really see problems. I see challenges. And some of these challenges we must prepare our mind to overcome, because it said that chance favors the prepared mind. If you prepare your mind for challenges, you can overcome. And basically what I sleep and think every day is, how can we get everybody to be part of what we are doing? Like I said, if some people are too heavy to carry along, we will leave them so that they will not weigh us down, so that we can continue. So I thought about having gone to some communities or associations in Canada. We've preached this gospel collectively as organizations, at the organizations. And I thought of, what about personal evangelism? You know, we come across our brothers every day on the streets. We don't even know their names. We don't tell them about Biafra. But there are two basic things. Like one of the national coordinator emeritus, Mazi Jerry, will always say, there are non-verbal evangelism. You can't have a car in this country or in this town and you don't have a flag of Biafra on it or inside it. You don't go around to occasions where Biafrans are gathered and you don't have a cap. You don't have something like this, a brush. You don't even wear our t-shirt. So how do you evangelize? How do you tell people about Biafra? That is a rhetorical question for every one of us to answer. Then secondly, I came up with something because we understand that some of us, we don't really have businesses, but we work for people, and so we don't have business cards. I came up with something like this. I said, if I can make 1,000 copies, and today you guys come and everybody have like 50 copies to take home, especially those in Ontario. If you talk to somebody, and you put your hand in your wallet or in your pocket, and you bring out one of these and give to that person. This card contains an information for our monthly meetings. It also has a column for you to write your name and your contact detail when you pass it to the person. It also has a phone number of the national coordinator. It has the office address. It has our website. If you do this and give it to 10 people in a month, you may find out that in our next meeting, you can have one or two of those 10 people attend our meeting. Trust me, where a man's heart is, that is where his treasure is. That is on the third point. I will want to, I don't want to advise, but I want to suggest to everybody that is a hardcore Onyobonabonye Biafra. People that wants to go home, not people that wants to do their retirement here. Because sometimes in my heart bleeds when we look at our children, the children that were born here or the ones that were brought here. Virtually they are lost generations. I tell you, some of our children don't speak our language. Some of our children are going to end up marrying people we don't know. They are going to end up moving with boys we don't even want them to associate with. And I ask sometimes, I'm asking the whole world, especially those in Biafra land, how many Americans are you seeing in your place? How many British people, if not the ones on the street they bring to you and name them expatriates, how many of them are you seeing in your country, in your place? if we all put hands together, this task is going to be easy. Let those that are doing it do it. When Biafra come, all of us are Biafrans. The worst lies you can tell is the one you tell to yourself. So in conclusion, I want to encourage every one of us that this gospel that we have heard, we have listened, we have believed in our hearts, that we may not be only hearers, but also doers. Thank you very much.
This gathering will come to an end by 9 p.m., so we're mindful of time. And I would want Onyendu to formally not only address us, but address us to the rest of Biafrans and the rest of the globe. After you address us on the word, we might take a few questions, and then we will serve dinner, because we want to break bread and bond as a family. IPOB, one family. IPOB, one family. IPOB, one family.
IPOB, one family. IPOB, one family. IPOB, one family. One family. IPOB, one family. IPOB, one family. IPOB. Our coordinator said we'll break bread. We shall do so later. This evening is a taste of what is to come tomorrow, because tomorrow I will preach the gospel of heaven. But I'm here to address you out of regard and respect that I have for you, for the wonderful work you've been doing. In case some of us have lost sight of where we are here, or what we are doing in IPOB, allow me to refresh your memory. This flag here is the tricolor of the rising sun, because it has 3 colors in it. It is loaded with symbolism, because the rising sun on the black strip of this very flag represents light in Africa, because without Biafra, the black race is as much as gone. And that is the truth. What we are fighting against is what Fulani people did to Hausa people. Do you know what they did to Hausa people? You don't know. If I ask you a question now, how many ethnic groups do you have in Nigeria? What will you say? Or name the 3 major ethnic groups in Nigeria. What would you say to me? Igbo, Hausa. The Hausa you are mentioning is only by language. Hausa language alone. You know, the greatest trick that the devil ever played is to convince those who are living that it doesn't exist. That was what the Fulanis did, not just with the Hausas, but with all of us who are here. There is nothing called Hausa people. They don't exist. Are you aware of that? Are you aware of that? I know Igbo people exist. I know Yoruba people exist. Because if you go to Yoruba land, you will see an Oba. You will see only of Ife. You will see the laughing of Oyo. You see the Egba of Egba land. Or maybe Ijebu of Ijebu land, I don't know. If you come to Igbo land, you will see the Ezes and the Igwes. If you go to Hausa land, what do you see? What do you see? Emir and Sultan, yes?
or maybe the Shehu of Bruno, if you're lucky. Now, there are emirs in Hausa land, is that correct?
Yes.
In Hausa land, is that correct?
Yes.
Is there any Hausa man who is an emir?
No.
So how can you say it's Hausa land? Huh? Because Hausa people have been conquered by the Fulanis. Less than 300 years ago they came. By the way, I wrote this, and Facebook took it down within 5 minutes. They came to fight corruption. Do you know that? Yes. The same thing Jubilee is doing on behalf of Judet Buhari is what they did nearly 300 years ago. You don't know that? Old man that followed your came, he was a teacher in the house of the king of Katsina. When the Fulanis came, they came to a place called Gobe, which they named Sokoto. He came as a teacher, Islamic scholar, to teach the children of the king in Katsina. Gobe was Hausa, ruled by an Hausa king, Katsina the same. All those places in the north that you see. Fulani man came back to their cattle somewhere, came on the ground and said, allow me to teach your children the Quran. I know Quran more than you do. Let me teach them. Meanwhile, there was Islam in Hausa land for hundreds of years before the Fulanis came. Listen to this story very carefully. Othman Dan Fodio started teaching the children of the king of Katsina. They call them the Habe monarchies. Not a man, king. After a while, the Fulani said, oh, can I bring my people closer? You know the king, very much, I was very civilized people in those days. I was built a musket. They built a gun. See, I was not Fulani. Highly advanced in those days. They brought their relatives. They came with their cattle. Now, what some of them, where's our national body? What some of them are doing in IPOB was exactly what the Fulanis did. They used gossip and subterfuge. They now started telling Hausa peasants that their leaders are corrupt. That him, Othman Dan Fodio, will help them to fight corruption. Yes, this same corruption mantra they're using now. They've tried it before and it worked for them. That's why they're using it again. So no matter what they do, when they close down AIT, when they prison people without any charge, they say they're fighting corruption. They convinced ordinary Hausa people to rise up against their kings. And they foolishly bought it. The Fulanis came and wiped out all their kings, killed all of them, replaced them with emirs. Every emir in the north is a Fulani. Every governor in the north is a Fulani. No Hausa man has ever ruled Nigeria. Do you know that? I said no Hausa man ever. They allow them their language, so they are jumping up and down, very happy, saying, oh, they speak Hausa. Even that is being taken from them now. Fulani has now come, they have relaxed. They are now about to teach them Fufude through their new radio station they're building. You think they're stupid? It took them nearly 300 years to achieve that. Discipline and focus. Discipline and focus. The Yorubas made the same mistake that Vanessa today and make a day for magic. Okay, see, that's the rest of all those idiots. Same mistake. I insult them because they are foolish. I insult them because they are there, they rape our mothers, they cannot do anything. I insult them because they are evil. We are fighting for the preservation of our land and way of life. They connive to label us as terrorist group. Fulani headsmen have been killing people all over the place. Have you heard any Fulani governor call them terrorists before? No. Eh? No. Now ask yourself this question: why would an Igbo governor call his own people terrorists? When Fulani governor cannot do that to people who are going out and raping and killing every blessed day, and you say this is your leader, you call him your governor, you're bringing death and shame upon yourself, as Awusas did. When the Fulanis finished with the Hausa people, they convinced, now they have killed all their kings, they convinced the peasants that there is another place they have to go and fight corruption. They said where? They said in Ilorin, is a Yoruba territory. They went to Ilorin to fight corruption. And today, Ilorin is an emirate answerable to Fulani people, not to Yoruba. They were fighting corruption. The same nonsense they are bringing to our land. They want to do to us exactly what Baron von Rothschild did when, after the Balfour Declaration, they want to try the Israeli model, that's what I call it, to buy land and then establish. That's what they want to do with the 100 billion they're giving to them. They will come, now they're saying in there, since you can't give us land, let us buy the land for our cemetery. They have taken over some parts of Abia State, I'm sure you know that. Almost half of Ebonyi has fallen to them. 1/4 of Enugu State has fallen to them. Some of you don't know. 140 people going to Nsukka to evangelize. Enugu State governor, if I go, gave the order for them to be arrested and detained. That's in detention. Your governors are fighting for Fulani. It's now that Ohaneze has remembered something called self-defense. The same self-defense we are all fighting for and arguing for. They said I should be killed, IPOB should be disbanded. All of a sudden they are calling for the same self-defense. So does it mean that we are stupid before and we are wise, and now we are the wise ones and the stupid ones? I don't understand anymore. This is what is happening in the zoo called Nigeria. And the world will not help you. Because heaven helped those that. That's why they will not help you. Don't think that you're meeting here flying for 6 hours or 4 hours. Some of you drove for 3.5 hours and the rest of it. That you're doing it for nothing. No, you're doing it for something. You don't want to become like Hausa people. If somebody wants you to preach to them about Biafra, say to the person, I hope you're an intellectual, you're well read, you're educated, they will say yes to you. Ask them to go and do a bit of reading on Hausa history. That is what shall befall you if you don't rise up now and join IPOB. Because what some of us don't understand is this. Fulani people have a mission. Their mission is to conquer you, and until they do, they will never rest. Yes. We are busy doing buying and selling, trading, building houses in Lagos and in Abuja. But our land is going by the day. Yes. I'm speaking to you very calmly. As you well know, and everything I say comes to pass. It will happen. All those things now that people are corroborating back home and in the wider zoo, we are things I said many years ago that sounded so bizarre and strange that no normal person can believe it or should believe it. But it's now happening before our eyes. You don't have any media apart from Radio Biafra and Biafra television. The Yoruba tell you how to think, what to wear, what to eat. Very subtle manipulation of the brain that you don't know about. BBC used to do to the rest of the world until America said no, they had their own CNN. Until the Arabs said no, they had Al Jazeera. Until even the Iranians said no, and had Press TV. Russia said no, and they have what is called Russia Today. France said no, and have France 24. Germany said no, they have Deutsche Welle. You think they are stupid? Do you think these people are stupid? Because anytime somebody tells you your own story about who you are, what you're supposed to do, where you're supposed to go to, then you lose the essence of your being. If you want to understand the veracity of what I'm talking about, ask yourself, why would any sensible Biafran attend a church pastored by somebody named Suleiman? I just wanted to answer my question. Just tell me why anybody would wake up and go to a Pentecostal church pastored by somebody who was a Muslim before, converted to Christianity. Not one, not two. Let's leave Pastor Suleiman to one side. Every Pentecostal pastor you know today was once a Muslim. Because it is a business. Simple business. And who sold the business to you? It's market. Quid pro quo, that's what they do in Yoruba land. You don't know this, but I will tell you. They use their Yoruba media to wash your brain, to tell you that this miracle you think is impossible can be found only in a Yoruba Pentecostal church, pastored by a Yoruba man. So when you watch your Emmanuel TV and whatever TV that you watch, with all the fake miracles and all that nonsense, you fall for their scam. They are the criminals, but that is why before you do anything, they call you a criminal. They call us fraudsters for seeking for our freedom and self-determination. 2 days ago, Yoruba has called for self-determination. I don't know if that makes them fraudsters as well. Does it? If you don't want to become like Hausa people, you join IPOB. That Biafra will be restored. Not for your sake, for the sake of your children. Hausa people are so ashamed of themselves that they can't even speak. That's how shameful their history is. Because they betrayed their own kings and killed them for Fulani. Today, all they are good for is to be called Al-Majri. And because of Islam and Hausa language, they think they still belong, but they don't. Fulani has taken over. And they are from Niger, they are from Chad. Isn't it funny that they sell our oil in our land, sell our gas in our land, and use it to build a railway from Fulani land to the Niger Republic, but there's no railway where we come from. Does that make any sense to you? No. The person they used to do it is an Igbo man called Nnamdi Kanu. Yoruba bamboozled him, praised him, called him Rotimi, and is very proud. See how foolish we are. Myself included. I never exempt myself when I castigate our people. This is the stupidity and ignorance that we are fighting. You know, in Europe, where I studied, I went to a church and I saw a picture of St. George slaying a dragon. And I asked somebody close to me, I said, was there a time dragons roamed freely in Britain? And the old white lady said to me that no, it is just an allegory. It's a depiction of something. Then I realized what it means. After about 4 years. It means the coming of enlightenment and the slaying of ignorance. Did you hear what I said? Yes. It is easier to fight something you can see, but there are things you can't see. Poverty, hunger, disease, and ignorance, you cannot see it with 2 eyes, can you? They are the dragons. You can never see them. But they are deadly killers. That is what our son is suffering today. That is what we are fighting to prevent from happening to us. Yoruba wants you to be like them, to have a piece of our territory, maybe in Manta, or maybe in Nightman in Enugu, or Afibo, to be turned into a foreign territory, so you can be like them. Out of cowardice, they lost the Lord. They won't tell you about it, they won't write about it. Because I think we're all ignorant, but we are not, we're IPOB. If you don't want what happened to what's to happen to you, IPOB is your only hope. There is no good news in this. Because the only reason why they have not struck yet is because of IPOB. The only reason why Fulani have not come down on us with the full might of their army of invasion, which is all these Fulani headsmen, is because of you and I. If we dissolve IPOB today, which was what they wanted to achieve before 2019, they used prescription, terrorism tag, arrest, killings, torture, kidnapping, to try to demoralize us, to collapse IPOB. And they used to harness any award and go. They used it for working the governors. Had they achieved it by 2019, they will be in our land. Some of you don't know this. And frankly, it's a surprise to me that you don't know. The only last line of defense between complete takeover of our land and anarchy is IPOB. Without IPOB, we are finished. And tomorrow, when I will preach properly, then you will come and hear and see what is happening in that very damnable zoological republic. Very terrible things are happening. If you want to behave like a typical black African, then you do nothing. But if you say that we are different, we are Biafrans, we are blessed, that Chukwuka then put us on this very earth to accomplish a noble and divine mission, then you must remain very strong and very resolute. That's what I ask you to do. Strong and very resolute and determined. Because ultimately victory is ours. For Biafra must stand. It doesn't matter what enemy does, Biafra must stand. It doesn't matter what Britain does, Biafra must stand. It doesn't matter what Yoruba does, Biafra must stand. Nobody can stop it. Nobody, but I'm telling you the truth. If you like gossip from here till the kingdom come, you're doing us a favor. Do you know why? Do you know why gossip is good? When you gossip to black people, they become interested in that very person. And they want to hear more about that person. And then one day they stumble upon Radio Biafra. And they hear our voice, and they become converted, they become IPOB hardcore. You don't know that? That's why I love gossip. Somebody ran on Radio Biafra when I was doing that program and said to me, without gossip, I wouldn't have known you. And now that I've known you, anytime you're live on air, I don't go to sleep until you finish. That is the magic of gossip. There are people in Biafra land, I'm sure the time there now is nearly maybe to 1 in the morning. But they are listening on their devices because they are the children of the Most High. They are IPOB, chosen for a mission. All those that gossip, they are looking for money. They want relevance, they want this, they want that. They are now asking for exactly what we are asking for. IPOB is a revolution. And I close by saying that IPOB is a child of destiny. Because long after we are gone, you know, everything born of a woman must die. Yes. Are you aware of that? Yes. That's long after we are gone. Every generation will talk about us forever and ever. Amen. And that IPOB in Canada is the true definition of immortality. That you will remember from generation to generation. Yes. When our fathers died in the trenches 52 years ago, they didn't know they were going to be immortalized. But as long as we live, as long as you marry and you give birth to Biafrans, as long as your children marry and they give birth to Biafrans, as long as there is a Biafran child on the face of this very earth, we shall always remember them. That too is immortality. So as you are gathered here today, you are doing something that hasn't been done before. We are not seeking to build a nation for the sake of it. We want to do something extraordinary. We want to build a country that every living soul, every black person on the face of this earth to be proud of. And if not Biafra, it won't happen anywhere else. Do you know that South Africa is falling apart? Yes. Do you know? Yes. Why is it falling apart? Let's be honest. Because blacks are in charge. Now you understand why we started the way we did. IPOB is not for the faint-hearted. If you feel sorry for yourself, you shouldn't come here. We want to make a telling and compelling difference that will stand the test of time. That century after century, they will say between 2012 and sometime in 2021, there was a group of people. They came together from far and wide, diverse in their views, but determined in pursuit of one very goal. And that goal is freedom. That freedom is what defined their history. That history is what we are reading today. And those people are IPOB. Thank you very much. IPOB!
IPOB, because we're gonna be faster. Is there one or two people that like to ask questions to Nnamdi now? Okay, you can come. Okay. So we're going to take only 4. There's still time tomorrow. So I will do 1, 2, 3, 4. Other people tomorrow. Okay, 5. Okay, so you're from Ontario. You're from Ontario, Vancouver, Montreal. So I'm going to do Calgary. I know. I'm going to do Ontario, Calgary, Vancouver, Montreal. Okay. Okay, I have 1, Ontario, Vancouver 2, Montreal 3.
Calgary. Jerry's hand is up.
Okay, sorry. You 1, Calgary 2, Montreal 3, Vancouver 4. Okay, and then how many people in Ontario again wants to ask questions? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So I'm going to give Jerry 1 slot, and then what's the name, sir? Yeah? Kingsley. I give Kingsley another slot if time permits. Uchenna, if time permits. So for now, the commitment is 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we see what time it is. Please go straight to the question. Like I said, we need to give people tickets, banners. When you come here to take the ticket or banner, Nnamdi has promised to take picture with each and every one of us here. So that's why we got the photographer. If you comport yourself, when we are coming here, he said, he looked at Canada, he said, what a beautiful country. And first thing he said, it was done through discipline. If we are disciplined and we comport ourselves, this thing will take very small minutes and we're gone. Thank you.
Thank you. Nnamdi, I'm happy to see you today. My name is Joshua Ekoyo. I think I'm the only boy man here. No. Okay, that's my brother. So Nnamdi, before I ask my question, I know you are resolute. I know you are determined on this job, on this struggle. But I want to tell you, don't fear. The spirit of Ojukwu, the spirit of our heroes and heroines are with you. And people you see here today is a witness that you're on the right path. We pray for you and your family every day, and we know that Chukwu will keep you. And we all will see the dream of Biafra. My question is, before the question too, I want to also say that the vision you have, the struggle you are pushing, personally, I'm not afraid any day, anytime to identify with you. And I'm a beneficiary of this struggle. On Monday, 3rd June, I went for my hearing. And I'm saying this so that, especially our brothers and sisters from other parts of this country should take it home. Don't be afraid of identifying yourself as an IPOB member, as a Biafra. One thing very significant I want to mention was I showed the judge the video of that memorial where I read I took the 6th reading. And when she saw it, and when she saw 2 things I showed her and changed her mind and made her pronounce my acceptance at that point. It was the video where I made the 6th reading, I took the 6th reading, and the WhatsApp group. She saw it, IPOB Canada, on my phone, and she saw the video, and she said she's okay with this. And just like my coordinator said, the spirit of our brothers and sisters that died will fight anyone that will come in camouflage to take opportunity. And I told my coordinator, I'm ready to live here if they say no, back to continue the fight in Biafra land. So, for anybody that pretends we want to get to benefit in the name of IPOB, just to stay in Canada, you're the worst enemy of Biafra. So you're with me, sir. But the question I want to ask is, I've been following one occasion back home before I traveled. I studied in England and I attended the IPOB program in Manchester and all that. So one of the questions I want to ask you, Nnamdi, is what are we doing to unite our family? I understand the other group, other agitators and all that. Is there anything we're doing to make sure that we have one voice? I don't have enough time, but I want to say something based on what you said. I took a personal study on Asians, especially Indians, and I know what they do. Indians can be 20 guys in a room with a focus and purpose. They will share themselves 10 doing night shift and 10 doing the day jobs. And they will stay there work together, start a shop in the metro or anywhere, and that's how they expand. They also don't marry outside, they marry among themselves, and that is why the economy is what it is today. I would want us to take a look and take a lesson from them. So thank you, sir, and God bless you.
Thank you. Please, before Ohamadike will answer, with one question, like we said, if we, it's okay to give compliment, but questions, please.
IPOB. One family.
IPOB.
I thank our dear brother very much. And I'm sure, is this event being videoed? Are we on video? Did they capture him?
Yes.
Was he captured?
Yes.
Because I'd like to send it to Dave Umahi. Dave Umahi said to me that...
He knows me in person.
Oh, he knows you? You will call him and tell him that you're part of this family. He said, all these things they've been doing, have you seen any able person there stand up and say something before? That's what he said to me. Thank you very much for what you've said. We are like that. We are better than the Asians at coming together and cooperating. 8 years ago, did any of you here know who I was then? 8 years ago? But today, you not only came to the airport to pick me up, you gave me accommodation, and you're feeding me. When we have a sense of purpose, that's what we accomplish. About the other groups that you're talking about, you know our people, how we are, we're very competitive because we are Republican by nature. The Asians are not. And whenever you have people who are Republican by nature, there tends to be competition. And when that competition is misunderstood or misread or misapplied, you have envy. After a few weeks, it matures into full-blown jealousy. And from there, you graduate to becoming a saboteur, an informant for the zoo. That's how it works. Those groups you're talking about, we can work with them. We will work with anybody. But the difficulties that I have with them is this, or some of them is this. I don't want you tomorrow now, you go and form your own group. And you say we should come and join me, let's move Biafra forward. But you were here before. You didn't move Biafra forward, it's only when you got, you move it forward. If they can do what we have done, if they can bring the zoo to a standstill, we don't want people taking advantage of what we have accomplished for one selfish reason or the other. Those you're talking about, are they not the ones settled by the government? Name them now. Name them, I will tell you, when they want to come into and collect money. And if you're with them, you're risking your life. One day they will also come after you. We want them to come, for us to be together as well. I addressed, I wouldn't say the full executive of WIC in America, but I spoke to their leadership. Did you hear about it? That shows willingness on our part to discuss with people who are serious. Not with those who are not serious. If you're not serious, we cannot deal with you. That's all. We don't want Biafra here today, tomorrow you're gone. We are consistent. Can they refuse or resist what I resisted and refused from the government? Do you think they can do that? How many of them will be given a helicopter and they will say no? And euros in stacks of white sacks. How many of them will say no to it? And still be fighting? That's the difference. Because we are involved in something very serious. Any mistake we make will be very fatal. We don't want to make mistakes, that's all. Thank you.
Please, the people are asking questions. Ohamadike, I don't know whether you can just note the questions. We take the questions and then you respond to all of them at the same time.
We're leaving Ghana for the background?
Yes. You have enough time. You always walk around the schedule. So, thank you.
IPOB One family.
IPOB.
I want to get there. Here, Basra Biafra will a personal issue because I am a shopper. Therefore, I went in with full force. All my Yoruba friends, Gijan on my Facebook, Yendrengamu had all their friends. Hana bomb, Lepum, Nadirom, I don't care. Because it's personal. No. Just like my brother promised you, I promise you my life to the end until Biafra. And you know what she got about you? I'm going to 1, 2, 3 times. Each of that Biafra. Again, I will run your nation. The day you make that decision, I will commit suicide. You know that today. And I mean it. Questo non è un. Hanno this second Niger bridge and a pope, the Muslim be on. Elaine, he had no change.
Thank you, my dear sister. One thing I guarantee you and everybody here listening right across the world, IPOB family, is that we will restore Biafra. Come on, start. I'm telling you, let me say, people don't see what I see. When we started this movement, if they tell you that one day TV people will be writing to you and asking for something, you won't agree. Or you will ask for something, no, never. You will say that it's not possible. Or that Danjuma will run to England to go and beg. You won't believe it. But it's happening. Biafra is guaranteed. And we're going to build Biafra. They are not building any second Niger bridge. I've said it from day one. It's only 120 billion naira, which is a drop in the ocean, considering the oil that comes from Bubuta. A drop in the ocean. Most of the oil that you see in the so-called Niger Delta is oil from Igbo land. Don't you know that? Are you arguing with me? Don't you know that?
No,
if you argue, I'll show you proof. They bury the pipe on the ground, they come there and they discharge it. When they take the oil, they say it's oil from Niger Delta. It's not possible. We have the oil. They will not build nothing for us. How can Islam build bridge for you? Even if we are that stupid. How can Islam build bridge for us? I've said this to the expatriates who are in Canada and all over the world. Just a minor, some of you are engineers. Come and build bridge for us and leave these people alone. They can't do anything for us. We don't need their bridge. Even if they build it with Islamic money, we'll bring it down. I'm telling you. Thank you.
IPOB, one family, Mazindewo, in Kent. My name is Ifan Chuku Opalako. I'm the deputy coordinator from Montreal, and I'm from Isochi. Isochi is in Umunochi local government, and that's an added province. I'm going to go directly to the question. My question is in reference to rising issues in my camp in Montreal and possible across the world. The issues is in reference if there's a centralized payment receipt for all paying IPOB members or any plan to implement such measures coming from the IPOB High Command or leader cabinets.
You.
Thank you very much. He's a Mamahan. Do you know what a Mamahan means? No. It means he was at government college Omahan.
Okay.
Yes. He's a young boy, not very government. I was in cousin's house, he was in Kent's house.
Okay.
There should be a receipt, isn't it? Is that a receipt?
What you do, IPOB Canada is young. We're still developing. Obi, the person leading us, is not controlling us. We just use him as a resource. If we have questions, we ask him. One of the issues that came out during the exhibition was the issue of receipt. That was the first time I got in contact with Montreal people. I did the receipt manually, so that because some of them paid money here and they went back and they were annoyed that receipt wasn't issued to them. But Ontario here was planning to print theirs, and then Mike asked the question, and now the question is, do we do it nationally and issue from the same inventory, or do we let the provinces do their own receipt?
What I have to say to you, have provinces, is that correct?
Yes.
Each province will send their money direct to Germany. Each province will send their money direct to Germany. Each province will arrange their own receipt, but will be overseen by the national coordinator. As long as you won't allow it to break you up. You know, there's nothing that we're afraid of than just money. Somebody went to court in the UK and told the judge said, what is the case about? He said, we brought him here, Your Honor, because he ate our money. And the judge was looking at him and said, he ate your money? And they said, yes. He said, but how is that? He ate your money. Yes, Judge, he ate our money. The judge was saying, but he's a human being, how can he eat money? He said, oh, no. We are saying that he embezzled our money. The easiest way to do this is this. Canada is very big. I will speak to our sister, Nnamdi, about getting a receipt down here. Maybe that would be the best way to do it. We need a centralized receipt. We will distribute it to the various provinces. But as time goes on, you remit your money direct to Germany. Maybe that would be the best way to do it. So if there are issues, we localize it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Those of you that may have read the New Testament, that was how the early church started. There was no Catholic church, no Anglican church, no Ascension church. You had the church in Antioch, the church in Corinth. Is that correct? The church in Ephesus. So if something goes wrong in Ephesus, it stays in Ephesus. Do you follow me? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Did I call you before? No, not you. Okay.
IPOB. Mazi, I'm very grateful to be here. The issue of IPOB, I've been a member all the way from Nigeria, all the way from Lagos. I participated in some activities in Owerri, but just to cut long story short, a major question I just want to ask is, there is some people, let me use people, but communities, they are really against us. They may speak Igbo, they may think, we may think that they are Igbos too, but the way they discriminate is so much. I had some issues with them, even when I'm trying to sell this idea of IPOB to them. Their response wasn't so pleasant. Please, I don't want a situation what happened to all the history of Zeke and Awolowo, why Zeke is fighting for Africa, Awolowo is fighting for the community of Yorubas to happen to IPOB. I've been in Yoruba land for years, and it happened that I know them very well. Yes, let Benjamin Adekunle is my in-law, so I know them very well. Another thing that I want to mention is the Yoruba that you mentioned about. They're very cunning people, and we have to be very, very careful about things that we write, all those letters and everything, because there's no place in the whole world that you have Oluwole except in Yoruba land. So they can forge anything, draw anything, do everything. So I just want you to have a central sale of some certain things you want to be writing, or some certain things you know to do. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear brother. And very quickly, there are some people who were either fathered by Fulani people during the war or after the war. You don't expect them to support IPOB or to support the freedom of Biafra. Never, it will never happen. Okorausa is one of them. Now, what we are going to do, you see, in IPOB, when I say we are educated, people don't understand. We think through every problem. That's why we've survived till this very day. What we are going to do is very simple. We are going to run a system of confederacy in Biafra land. Every ethnic nationality will be independent. Only two things will bind us together: foreign affairs and defense. That's all. So if you attack any part of Biafra, we'll defend it. That's all. But everything else, they control themselves. When you are making laws in Ijaw land, in Ijaw language, that is your business. Igbos are doing the same, Urubos are doing the same, Ishekris are doing the same thing in their own language. So when something goes wrong in Ishekri, you don't look for somebody else to blame outside. Are you following? So we are fighting to liberate everybody so that you can go to your mother's kitchen and prepare the soup however you like it. So nobody will go to tell anybody else what to do. So we are not going to repeat the mistakes of this zoo called Nigeria, because we are Biafrans and we are forward-looking people. Thank you very much.
IPOB, my name again is Osita Uwezoji. I'm Moni Soja from Isoji. I'm here to represent our coordinator, Emai Ejirika. And again, we cannot stop appreciating IPOB. That is why when some of us come, it looks like we speak too much. I've never seen a man like that in my life. His decision is so sound. I'm giving us a word of encouragement on that. Two, when our director was detained in Nigeria, there's just two people that always come online. It's a suggestion. These people their broadcast in Biafra land is something else. Namely, Mbamonu from River State, Eche to be precise. I don't know where him, I don't know where he is. The second person is they coordinate from Enugu. His name is okay. When I'm saying that, I'll bring it in. During the course of my evangelism, I met a man in Vancouver, and he asked me one question: why not tell IPOB? He said, I don't know how true that is, that when a country that has fought war 30 years, you can go to UN and make your case. So my question is, how possible is that? Thank you.
The reason why we can't just go to UN or rely on that rather yes unsubstantiated proviso that if you fought a war And with 40 years elapsing, you can now apply for independence. No. Because Nigeria is a private property of Britain. It's a private property. Okay. In fact, the truth of the matter is that with the exception of South Africa, the UN don't see African countries as countries, honestly. They just see them as tiny real estate holdings for European powers. And that is the truth, before heaven and earth. Those behind the crackdown on IPOB is British. Britain. Without their permission, there will be no Operation Baton Dance, no invasion of my house. They gave the go-ahead for it to happen. They own the place. Before the Fulani herdsmen started, Tony Blair went there how many times to the north? John Kerry went to the north because Britain said to them, these are my favorite servants, my house niggers. Go and see them. Nigeria is not a country. It's a private property that belongs to the real estate of Her Imperial Majesty Elizabeth II. Simple as that. Anybody telling you that countries in Africa is deceiving himself? We are not no, there is no country in Africa. Very simple. Thank you. Thank you. IPOB. IPOB. One family. IPOB. To some people here who don't know me, my name is Mazi Jerry Okoro. I am from Mbaise. Mbaise is in the Owerri province. Owerri province is in Biafra land. Yeah. Special thanks to Ohamadike. I came to know you in 2013 when you came here. I was among the people that stayed with you throughout. We left work to stay with you. Simon Okoroji and I took you to where the Igbos were doing picnic. That's very good people. And I happened to fall into the leadership of IPOB because since I met you, you know how we broadcasted. Nanke Uche Ezuma, now the beautiful wife.
Is this still here?
Yeah, but they are not coming. Close it again. But it's still there. Yeah, but it's still there. 1 year, go for the money, we'll become a New York. So, I want to say special thanks to Onyeka. He is a Biafran. I can, without fear, tell you, Mazima, Ewezuga Onyeka presently, maybe a different story would have come out of Toronto. You see, people panicked when he wanted to beat us below the belt. We appealed to him, and he hearkened to the voice of reason. Thank you very much. Mazi, if we look at what has happened here today, I can tell you that work needs to be done in Toronto. We are missing something, and there are things we will say here now, it will demoralize people. So my special appeal will be, before you go, I'm request that you call a few of us. Can you swear in our back for us to move forward? Because if we start talking all the problems we have here in Toronto now, it may be boring, it may discourage some people, and that will not help us. But there are issues that need to be thrashed here in Toronto, and that is the only way we can grow. I'm being honest about it. Thank you for coming.
All right, so we're done with the questions. Okay.
IPOB. IPOB. One family. Because before I draw my question, I'm like you can Bialeba. Makana Oburu that faces though Omuna is the Ebe Talaka Walibia. Mana Oburu that I see to an apota. I won't make an easy I am whatever. I would like to see to an apota born as I put. I have a meeting. If each and every one of us can be turning up the same way we turned up today, I think it will make a huge difference. Having said that, only do I greet you. Afamubu Jenna Okafo. It's informal on this zone. Idato. Currently in Imo State, Biafra land. But I have changed it actually to Arabizon County in Biafra. This question, if it's not permitted, please advise me or you cut me off. I want to ask, each time we come to the meeting, sometimes, honestly, some of us might have our dues, some of us might not have our dues, depending our incomes. Most of us work, most of us have private businesses. This question might go contrary or different direction, but I've been trying to ask this question within us. So it presents me a good time to ask you this question one-on-one. Is there any way, is it right for us within the family to put something together? Somehow, for example, Nigerian community, they have a newspaper. On that newspaper, they use some advert within themselves. I don't know how they manage it.
Sorry, which people constitute the Nigerian community? Are there families there? No. Are there houses there?
No. Well, I don't even go to that meeting.
No, excuse me, does anybody here know about this community, this Nigerian community people? Yes. Yes. Which people make up the largest number there? Our people. Igbos.
I think the president now is Igbo. The current president is Yoruba.
So this question, Onyendu, sometimes an issue may rise up. I may not have something at some time, and it will pain me. So are so many of us. So let me go direct to the question. Are we allowed to, within ourselves, the family, to put something together? For example, that newspaper, something that can, within the family, generate income in case of when that income or funds is needed. In this case, when you're here, because most of us find it very difficult to raise money to do something. It's not because they don't want to, maybe because of one issue or the other. So this question has been bothering me, and I cannot do everything alone. I need people. There are some things I'm doing alone, but it's difficult. So this question is, are we allowed as a family to put something together? If that it is, are there things that we can and we cannot take it?
Thank you very much for your question. Newspaper, yes, only insofar as to disseminate information, and it must not make any profit. Secondly, no, we don't dabble into business, because it's a very slippery slope towards something very dangerous. You know us and money. This little one we are contributing now, you can see the amount of hassle that goes into it. Imagine if we add business on top of it. There'll be a problem, isn't it? Yes. Please, no business. If you have a private business, somebody can do generate funds and give to IPOB, all well and good. But IPOB will not be involved as a family, because we don't want the addition. You know what they will say? Somebody manufactured news that Israel gave me, is it $9.8 million to fight for Biafra, which is a lie. Do you understand me? Anything we go into now, our enemies will magnify it and seek to create trouble for us. We don't want that. So we just focus on freedom. Once we get it, then we go into our businesses.
IPOB. My name is Ononuju Okere from Imo State, but I lived in Abia State. Able Supreme Leader, I thank you for this privilege to be with you today. It's I stand there with a great spirit of excitement in my heart. We've started this struggle back home. A number of times you came to Aba. I was there.
Thank you very much for that. Before, I was kidnapped and detained illegally for 18 months. I did tour a lot of countries around the world, but I can also assure you that this morning our head of the Secretary of State, Mazi Chike Doziem, told me that Japan would like to see me, and also Switzerland. So I can confirm I'm going to Japan. I will be going to Japan, and also we'll be going to Switzerland and Brazil as well. Wow. So we have a lot of work to do, and we must do it. And thank you very much for that very kind reminder.
This is the last question.
IPOB. My name is Nenna. If you like, you boot princess. Nenna Simonia Chiabuta. I'm from Isuku, Abia State. I have a question. I want to know why men are in IPOB and their wives are not there. That's one question. In Radio Biafra, there are certain things they say, like during the war, we don't say everything. I was small then, but anything secret, we don't say it out. But everything comes out in Radio Biafra. Is there any how that one can be limited so that the enemy will not know what we are doing? He mentioned about WhatsApp. Now it's like Toronto, it's like everything is scam. You get to your telephone, you'll be hearing a sort of, messages which I don't like. Is there any how we can curtail some of these things? Most of them are not even useful. I've mentioned it in the meeting. Anything that concerns, maybe we are having a meeting, so time, I prefer that one than bringing in something that is not relevant to IPOB and you just put it there. People should realize that it's not only, even if you're a friend, I'm not addressing our members now. Even if your friend is there, you want them to know what is going on. Why not send that information direct than putting it in the group? I don't like that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The reason why we put or tend to put everything out in the open sometimes is because we are a very skeptical people. And we are Republicans. I used to find myself in great difficulty when we started this movement. I looked at the USA and I looked at Russia, the two great powers we have around the world. America does everything in the open, apart from the latest weapons. Everything else is in the open. If the president does badly, they try him or her in the open. And Russia is very secretive. Everything is covered all the time. And I look at USA and I look at Russia. USA is far more better than Russia, isn't it? They are doing very well. And I put it down to one of what I call the values of democracy. Our people are very, very inquisitive. They want to know what is happening. Where is our mother, Sister Nnamdi? You know, they are asking us for defense fund. I'm sure you've heard about it. Defense fund. If you don't tell them about the defense fund, they will go and poison the minds of other people. That's how we are. Now you're being forced to say something you're not supposed to say. That is the nature of our people. Regarding WhatsApp, there are two things. I hope all the officers are listening. There are two things I don't want in IPOB. One is the building of cabal. That is why I hate WhatsApp groups. It doesn't make unless you're sharing news about Biafra, about meetings. Everything else shouldn't be there. And I'm telling our national coordinator here to have that in mind. When people build cabal, you want your friend to be in Alberta to be the coordinator, you want your other friend who is somewhere in Edmonton to be the coordinator, you start to talk amongst yourselves. You know, one for all and all for one. If anything happens to me, if I misbehave and I'm kicked out, I'll take all of you with me. Biafra can never be like that. I don't know the meaning of these WhatsApp groups. If something doesn't have anything to do with IPOB meeting, energizing people, encouraging people, don't put it on WhatsApp. Our men love gossiping. I don't know why. If somebody offends you, write to that very person direct to say, I want to see you. I heard you say something about me. Regarding our wives not coming out, perhaps a lot of people are taking a cue from me because my wife doesn't come out very often herself either. But I have heard what you said, and I will make sure that she comes out more often. So that others, yes, of course, I'm sure most of us do follow my leader, isn't it? If my wife doesn't come out very often to address the women, I'm sure most coordinators won't let theirs come out either. But we should. And as my wife said in Atlanta, she made a pledge before the women that she will come out now more often. That was what she said. And she will. So I start from myself first. And I'm sure she will, and so will the rest of us as well. But thank you, it's a very valid point to raise. Thank you very much.